What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Clone Zone. Live streams are back. I'm
We
always
have
a little
music.
bit, and we have music. Molly has been wanting to put music at the beginning of our live streams for 2 years, and she made it happen today.
I don't know what has been stopping me. I'm just too lazy to find royalty-free music to use. But like, I spent 5 minutes looking today, and I found that, and I was like, perfect. Sounds like Star Wars.
You stormed into my office and handed me a music file and made me make an intro. So now we have a musical intro. It's been like, when's the last live stream we did it? I feel like it's been 3 weeks, and then it always feels like we lose everything. I'm afraid I don't know how to talk anymore.
Yeah, is my mic even on? I don't know.
Well, we are going to chat The Bad Batch, the first 2 episodes, Spoils of War and Ruins of War, and we are going to do that with our guests today, Keith and Kerwin from Father Son Galaxy. Welcome to the show.
Ah,
Thank you. Hello,
we're
everyone.
here.
Thank you.
It's funny. Molly and I were walking our dog, who just wandered in and back out right before the stream, and we were like, it's weird that we met both of you at Celebration at the Bad Batch panel. So this worked out really well.
Full circle.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. It
Were
makes
they-
sense.
So long ago, doesn't it? It's 8 months ago. I can't believe it.
It does, yeah.
Gosh.
We're coming up on Celebration London already. Are you planning on going to London?
We're still working things out. I'm at this point, no, but you
Don't
can't.
disappoint.
Yeah,
your
never
father.
say never, but we'll see. We don't know. We're still working it out.
That makes sense. I mean, if you guys don't get invited by like Lucasfilm themselves, we'll riot. We'll make a scene.
No pressure on Lucasfilm.
My AirPods immediately
no
died.
pressure, but pressure.
Pressure, but a little bit pressure.
Well, I mean, I've been campaigning because I've had the pleasure of seeing both of you get to interview some of the cast members from Andor. Recently, you got to talk with D. Bradley Baker. And Keith, you're always so well-spoken. Everyone is always so excited to see you when you pop up in an interview. And they love the questions that you ask. So I say put Keith up there, Star Wars Celebration stage, asking all the questions. That's what I think should happen.
I did enjoy it. I can ask questions too.
I think you do great.
Really, all you need is a good suit and some prepared questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly won't fail.
I actually, in the description, I linked to your video that you dropped yesterday with D. Bradley Baker, which was very fun. The question, I like that your first question was just, can you do the Wrecker voice? Which I was very happy with. But
That's what we all want to hear, isn't it?
This is the first Black Series action figure I got for the Bad Batch.
Yes.
We're trying to complete the set.
Yes, we have 3 so far.
Got Tech,
Nice.
Echo, and Wrecker.
Yay!
I didn't plan to ask this, but
the Bad Batch members, we need Hunter, Crosshair, and Omega. So let's track them down.
We're working on it.
Let's track them down.
I didn't plan on asking this, but it just makes sense. Who were both of your favorite members of the batch?
You want me to start?
Yes.
Okay, that would be Hunter. You know this already, but from the very beginning, when Hunter became this father figure for Omega, I could just, feel some of his pain, of wanting to, do the right thing, but making sure that his child that he's protecting is safe. He's not just making decisions for himself and for the team, he's also making decisions on her behalf. So Hunter from the very beginning was my favorite character.
Great. Keith, who was yours?
Wrecker. I gotta say, Tech's a close second, but I love Wrecker because he's like me if he was even more destructive.
Gonna wreck it. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he's also the one with the most sense of humor. And he's kind of like Omega's, the fun uncle who spends all their money on you.
Oh yeah. I mean,
And then gets the rest of their family in trouble.
And get Sid to pay it off, put on Sid's tab.
I feel like Wrecker and Omega really, really get along together because they're kind of on the same level. I mean, it's like he has kind of a childlike mind, but like in a loving way. And there's a moment in is it the second episode when they're both kind of like playing with their
I was going to bring that up too.
like,
Yeah.
he's got his like giant tank gun thing and she's got her kaleidoscope and they're just having a good time.
They're both appreciating their new toys, and Wrecker's just happens to be a tank cannon.
Yeah.
That's true.
I agree. I love Wrecker. He is my favorite member as well. I think I probably wish I could be more like Wrecker, a little more carefree.
I gotta
Maybe
make a
that's
book
why I
of that.
Yeah. I like Wrecker a lot, but I have a soft spot for Tech. He's definitely one of my favorites, and I really like his stuff so far in this season.
He got some good stuff, some good comedy moments in this episode.
Mhm.
Tech got his act together.
Yeah,
He did, yeah. And I love that they're giving Tech and Omega a little bit more of a connection so far. Like it seems like they've bonded a little bit more.
mm-hmm.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, it feels to me like a few of the characters from last season took a back seat, and I think right now we're going to see more of them this season, which is great. So I'm sure we'll talk more about it as we get into talking about the episodes. But yeah, I agree. They're all great characters, so it's very hard to give them all equal time on the screen. So I think season 2 is probably going to be for Tech and Echo and to their relationship with Omega.
That's a great segue into another question I wanted to ask just before we get into this episode. What did you think of season 1 as a whole, or just the series as a whole?
I enjoyed it. So Keith he's the Clone Wars guy. He's been watching Clone Wars before I have. He's seen more episodes of Clone Wars.
I watched that show when it was on Netflix.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, when
OG
you were
fan.
4.
I was like 4
Right.
years old. It was on Netflix, and then they took it off. And Disney Plus was like, "Nah, we're taking our show back." And then they put the Clone Wars on Disney Plus, and I still watch it.
Yeah, so he's been on the Clone Wars train before I have, but I came on the last season when they introduced the Bad Batch, and I really enjoyed the episode. I liked the message that they were sending about embracing people for their differences, and for that's what makes you whole. That really appealed to me, and I've been liking the Bad Batch ever since. So the first season was wonderful. It was a great build up to the end. We knew it was going to happen.
We
The
knew
destruction
Kamino was going to
yeah,
go bye-bye.
Kamino was lost. It was a wonderful season, and I'm just looking forward to season 2.
So, Keith, was the Clone Wars your introduction to Star Wars?
Not necessarily. I saw all the movies first,
Okay.
and then I saw the Clone Wars, and then I think I saw the Force Awakens while I was watching the Clone Wars.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
right. So I introduced Keith actually through the Scholastic books, the Little Golden
yeah.
book. I was in the
yeah.
bookstore one day and I saw the Little Golden books of the first 6 films, and I took it home and I asked Tanya, "Do you think Keith would be interested in reading these books?" And she said, "Well, I don't know. Just give him the books and see what happens." And he loved them, and he kept reading them. I mean, he read them until the pages started to fold,
And we
to,
still
we
have
still
the old
have 'em.
copies. So I think
Yeah.
when we get like a huge display room, I'm gonna display each and every one
the
of the
original.
books.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that'll
mean,
be
we bought a new
nice.
set since then, but
Yeah, but I still like the old ones.
we
'cause
still
they
have the old ones.
They have what's it? Sentimental value.
There you go.
Sentimental
Right.
value. Yeah.
And then right after he read the books, he wanted to see Star Wars. I said, "Well, Dad, can we watch Star Wars?" And I said, "Really?" And we started with episode 4.
And you were like,
we've
"Got him."
seen we've seen all the films after that.
Yeah. And when I was like younger, we used to make like charts of heroes and villains.
Yeah, we took it very far.
And then for some reason, Mom was just sitting there in the background, like, smile, please.
Yes.
Just recording the entire thing.
Yes, memories. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Memories. I had a camera in my face since I was 4 years old.
Well, and you had a lot of questions about Star Wars. And Star Wars is not an easy thing to learn, especially at 4. There's so many characters, there's so many themes, and we sat down and we created charts, like these whiteboards, talking to Keith and explaining to him, him telling me, as far as who are the villains, who are the heroes. We had villains on one side, heroes on the other side, and I just ask him to just start naming all the villains of Star Wars, and he would name them: Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Darth Sidious, and then the heroes did the same thing. So he got the concept of heroes versus villains, and
I have to put Anakin Skywalker in both.
yeah, right, exactly. That was complicated. Where
Put him
That's
right in the
true.
middle. Yeah.
The hero, the
Counts.
villain, the
Exactly. So we put him Anakin as a hero, and then Darth Vader as the villain, and that's how we settled that one.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
Well, I
have to
feel
find
like
some
if
middle
you're,
ground.
if as a parent, if your child gets into Star Wars at such an early age like that, you need proof to show it to all of your friends, because that is worth bragging about.
Wow.
That's why we got the videos.
Thank you for that. That's why Tanya documented everything. So she has all this, she's got recordings, she has photos that she's kept, over the years, and you're right. That's exactly right. You have to capture those memories because they go so fast.
Hi, Mom.
Well, there's an icebreaker question I love to ask everyone, basically, and that is: do you have a favorite side character, that someone that's not your Luke Skywalker or Anakin Skywalker? Do you have someone that's more lesser known that you really, really like?
What do you think? That's a very good question.
You take this one.
Yeah, the first one
I'll
that comes.
throw you under the bus first.
No, that's all right. That's fine. Wedge always comes to mind first, and I know that he's one of those more popular side characters, but he's the one that always stands out.
There's a class
to me.
system.
Yeah, well, he stands out
Like
to me
side
because
characters, more popular side characters.
right.
Yeah.
Not really side characters.
Well, right, there's side characters that
main
people
characters, main characters, and Skywalkers.
right. There you go. So they're
Skywalkers are
categorized,
above
but
all.
yeah. So I always think of Wedge because he's just, he first of all he stayed alive for the entire original trilogy, and as far as I know, he's alive now during the sequel trilogy, and he was just there. He was just somebody you can always depend on. Even when he would fight up until the end at the end of the Battle of Yavin, and his ship gets hit, and he doesn't want to go, but he has to, and he takes off, but he's back on Hoth, and he's back on Endor, so he's and then he's there at the celebration. So I really enjoy a character like that, just somebody that you can rely on, depend on. So that's the side character for me. And then learning more about his backstory in Rebels, when he was a member of the Imperial Academy, and how he deflected or left the Imperial Academy, defected, sorry, and left the Imperial Academy, and then joined the rebellion. Yeah, pretty cool.
Defected
Yeah,
and deflected.
As I love Wedge. He's my second favorite. Big Starklighter is my main. But Keith, do you have a favorite? It can be Wrecker.
It's a hard question, man.
Dad, do you ever get out of jail free cards?
How about Chopper? Like Chopper?
Yes.
Chopper's cool. Yeah.
Chopper.
Yeah.
Because he's Chopper.
Because he's Chopper.
Yeah, Chopper's a great choice.
Chopper's
He's
cool.
like the sassiest droid, I think. I mean, R2 is pretty sassy, but Chopper has got those arms, and he can just like
Chopper chopsticks you. That's why
Yeah.
we call him Chopper.
Yeah,
he
he's
will
short.
literally come at you like this.
Well, I think we've gotten through most of the icebreakers, so let's dive into the Bad Batch, and specifically today's 2 episodes. I'll throw it to Molly first. How did you like the premiere of season 2?
I liked it a lot. I enjoyed season 1. I didn't really know what to expect for season 2, except, after seeing that amazing footage at Celebration and the return of Gunji, I had high hopes, but the first 2 episodes were really, really fun. And I felt like I loved Andor so much, but after a show like that, this was like such a breath of fresh air. It was a lot of fun, and it felt like, Alex, I think you mentioned it earlier, it felt like a pendulum swing from one end to the other, where it's like Andor is very serious, Bad Batch is like lots and lots of fun and adventure and like classic Star Wars stuff. So
Andor is anxiety inducing, and then Bad Batch is like, okay, we can just take a breath and watch.
Yes. And, I love Omega so much, and I like to see her growing up and getting more responsibilities within the Bad Batch family. They're trusting her a little bit more, giving her more to do. She's learning all this stuff about ships, and it's really exciting to see. So yeah, I'm digging it so far.
Kerwin, how did you feel?
Yeah, I was actually very excited about the first 2 episodes. It's actually very good. I was glad to see that the trailer that we saw at Celebration was exactly how the episode 1 opened up, and I thought that was a very good adrenaline going way to start the episode. And then the main story about them trying to buy their freedom by going on another mission with Sid. That was one thing I was not disappointed, but I was hoping that maybe the Bad Batch may have moved forward from Sid after what happened with them at Tapoka City. But it looks like they still need to work. They still need to earn a living. So Sid is still sending them on these missions. But this is a big mission, and I thought it was a very exciting one. And I was just sitting at the edge of my seat, thinking, well, how are they going to get out of this one? But it was really good. And it started off light and action filled, but by the time you get to the end of episode 2, it turned a little dark. So that's so high stakes. So I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah.
So Keith, I take it you liked it?
I did, because after the first season, I was kind of I wanted to see, especially where Crosshair was going. Didn't get to see him in these 2 episodes. Sorry, but hopefully we'll see him later on in the show. And I was really excited to see the Batch on a new adventure, especially because they dropped a what was it?
Cargo?
No, not cargo. That thing that you always talk about when it's like hinted at the beginning and then it comes back at the end. Set up and pay off.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Gotcha.
There we go.
Gotcha.
Because remember when Omega was studying those ships, that came in handy when they were on board that shuttle that was carrying all that cargo, because they knew exactly how to escape.
Yeah, that's true.
I loved that moment for her.
That one.
Yeah.
And that Tech even was like, that's a good idea, and I'm impressed. The fact that she is even impressing the smartest one of the group. I loved seeing her. I think just in general, having Omega be an integral part of the team, where she spent most of season 1 with Hunter being like, stay on the ship. And there's a moment in this episode where he's like, are you coming? Let's go. Like, she's just part of the team now. And it's nice to see that.
Yeah. I like that you bring up Sid, because she had some really great lines in these episodes where, the Bad Batch talks about, oh, they're free now. And she comes back with like, oh, it's cute that you think that, because that's not the case. So like, she is on the right track in that way, but she's just trying to get out with money. Like, she's just trying to get the next job and the next payment and use that to get by. And so Sid's character is really interesting. I'm curious to see where she goes in this season.
Yeah. It was interesting that we had a very similar setup with Sid, where she's like, oh, you're not free yet, but if we just get a bunch of money, you will be. And it's interesting watching that after watching Andor, because that was Cassian's plan of like, hey, I just pulled off the Aldani heist. Now I have money and now I'll be free. And obviously, that did not work out. So it's been interesting watching this after watching Andor. And I feel like they're pretty good companion shows in a weird way.
Yeah, I think that people are just under the false impression that if they have more money, then maybe it would make them free. But are you really free under the Empire? No. And I think it just takes time for some people to realize that even you may have tons of money, no matter how much money you may have, you're still going to feel the impact of the Empire. So either you're going to be for them or against them. And I think the Batch is just not there yet. I think they're going by what Sid is going by. Sid is just trying to save herself and her business because at
She's
any
trying to
moment,
make more money.
yeah,
She's trying to
yeah, exactly.
sniff out that next paycheck.
Right. So she's stacking money for herself in case the Empire comes in, swoops in, and takes over her business. So she's looking out for her. Or, okay, well, what happens? If I get the Empire invades my saloon. What do I do? Where do I go? So it's really about her. And the Batch, I don't think they're really concerned yet about the damage that the Empire can do for them. I think they're still outside of Echo. I think Hunter is still looking to just not get involved with the Empire because he's looking out for Omega, and he just wants what's best for her, and keep her out of war. To be frank, and just settle down somewhere where he doesn't have to worry about the Empire. But there's no place where you can settle anywhere in the galaxy and not feel the impact of the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, especially because Sid's just really using the Batch as her errand boys the entire time, because she's just like, all right, you did this mission, I'm gonna give you a little bit of money to keep you going, go get me more money.
Mm-hmm. She's like a video game boss that just continues to send them out on quests, and then they come back to her.
One person, that one NPC in the game that's like, here, do this quest and I'll give you 50 gold, but it costs 100 for the cheapest item in the shop.
Yeah.
Molly, you make a great point that she is like a quest giver, and I would call it a side quest giver. And I saw some people online talking about how this felt like a side quest, and I don't think I fully agree with that, but I kind of think that's where the Bad Batch is at right now, except for Echo. Like you said, Kerwin, they're on the side quest, and Echo wants them to be on the main quest. It's like, no, we have to fight the Empire. So maybe it is kind of the point to have this feel a little set apart from what the Batch should be doing. I think that's interesting to call her a quest giver.
Yeah. What did you guys think of Fee? Because I loved the introduction of her character, where the very first time we see her, she's got her feet up on Sid's desk, so you automatically know, oh, she's in charge here. She's giving Sid orders, who is then giving the Batch orders.
So apparently she's like, I don't know, Sid's boss or something.
She gives you the impression that she has more power over Sid. Exactly for what you said, Molly. She has her feet up on the desk. Okay, well, she knows something.
Sitting there like this is her office.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So to me, it seems like she does have the upper hand on Sid, because she was the one that brought the intelligence to Sid in regards to Dooku's fortune. So maybe she does know more. She has more power, and she knows more people in the business. So, or maybe she's just there to compete with Sid. Who knows?
And that reminds me, like, I think this season is gonna, on a tangent kind of, this season's mostly gonna be about beliefs. Because if you think about it, Echo has his own set of ideas. Because since he was a soldier for the Republic for years before he joined the Batch, he's thinking, well, we should be doing more. We gotta be out there fighting the Empire on the front lines. Hunter is thinking, well, we have to scale back a little because we have a child to protect with us. She doesn't have the military experience we do, so we just gotta make sure she's safe before we do anything reckless. And plus, we can't just be out there fighting the Empire. We gotta think about what's best for us too. And Crosshair on the inside, he's thinking, oh, I'm so valuable, the Empire's never going to get rid of me. They're going to treat me like royalty, right? They're just going to keep me there. So I think all three of their beliefs are going to clash somehow in some huge way at one point, and we're just going to get this entire display of Hunter, Echo, and Crosshair trying to kind of reconcile all their ideas.
Yeah.
They can move forward.
Very well
Or
said.
somebody breaks.
Yeah. I
Probably
love what you said
second.
about Crosshair and him thinking that he's so valuable to the Empire. It's kind of like, we keep bringing up Andor, but Cyril Karn thinks he can be such an asset to the Empire, and Deidre
like,
thinks
nope.
she's so important for the Empire, but like no one is really that important when it comes to the Empire except for Palpatine.
Nobody's listening.
That's a good point. Nobody's listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think Echo and Hunter especially are going to clash this season,
Because
and
they're on the same team. They have to see
yeah.
each other every day.
I think they're going to have to find some common ground. I was just thrilled that Echo had like an arc this episode. Kerwin, you mentioned that he didn't have much focus in season 1. How did you feel now that he had quite a bit of focus in these first 2 episodes?
Right. Yeah, I felt that Echo was probably the most underrated Bad Batch member from last season. And if you think about it, we went back and watched the first season. He didn't say much, but what he said was very important. And it wasn't the first time that he and Hunter had this conversation about what they should be doing, instead of working for Sid. When Captain Rex came by and, talked to them and, mentioned that he was on a mission and talked about their chips. At that point, the Batch is supposed to be working for Sid, but for some reason, the Batch owed Sid money, for, some ridiculous.
For whatever reason, she doesn't pay them at all.
Exactly. So,
she gets $100. She gets $100, and it's like,
right.
Gives them half a dollar bill.
Right. And that's a way of keeping them under control, keeping them under her thumb, because, of course, if they try to leave, it's like, oh, I know everything about you. I could just, make a few holograms or whatever to make some talk to some people and then get you in trouble.
I'm gonna get some bounty hunters. So
but,
I'm gonna call Boba Fett on you.
Right. But when Hunter and Echo had that moment, Echo said to Hunter, well, the reason why we're doing this is because we didn't go with Captain Rex, right? We should be doing more. We're soldiers, right? So again,
and he ripped Omega too.
Right. And right. Well, Echo had this conversation in season 1, and right now he wasn't heard in season 1. I think season 2 is when he is absolutely going to be heard, because Hunter at some point is going to come to a solution or come to a conclusion that Echo is right, that there's more that we need to do. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that unfolds.
Because we also know that we saw Palpatine in the trailer.
True.
I don't know when he's gonna pop up.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him yet, so he's gotta come at some point.
Right.
I'm so
very curious
to see him pop up. I don't know when it's gonna happen. It's probably gonna happen like out of the blue, one episode, and it's gonna shock everyone. And yeah, it's just to see him in the Senate again is gonna be so cool.
I'm curious what brings the Batch to Coruscant. That's going to be an interesting journey, because Hunter in this episode was talking about how not like attacking Sereno, that's too high profile. The Empire thinks we're dead, and I want to keep it that way.
Yes.
But he's outvoted and they go. But going to Coruscant is an even bigger jump.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think of the fact that Rampart was under the impression that the Bad Batch was dead? Because in my mind, that means that Crosshair must have told them that they died, or at least had a lie of omission by just saying like they're probably dead, or leaving them out of his escape story. So to me, that is, even though Crosshair wasn't in this episode, I was like, there's a little bit of character growth for Crosshair, maybe.
Well, that is a very good point, because Crosshair and the Batch were together on Topoka City, after the city was destroyed, and the Batch was trying to talk Crosshair into going with them to the Marauder, and Crosshair says, no, I'm staying. I'm waiting for the Empire to pick me up. So you're right. So when he approached, when Rampart approached him, I'm sure he probably asked Crosshair, well, what happened to the rest of the team? What did Crosshair say? Maybe he said, well, I don't know. They didn't make it out.
Or maybe he said they're dead.
Right. So maybe
Crosshair was like, yo, I threw them in the river.
Right. Well, right. Or maybe, yeah. So maybe that's how Rampart got the idea that the Batch didn't survive, Camino.
Yeah, because like
Crosshair,
Crosshair, like we said earlier, he wants to know that he has the utmost value for Rampart and for the rest of the Empire. So he's not going to just be like, oh, I don't know, they got away, darn
Right.
it. Like he's going to say, yeah, no, they're dead, they're taken care of, because
Right.
he's not going to admit otherwise.
Sure. And good point, because that was Crosshair's mission, right? To take care of the batch. So if he went back to Rampart and said, well, they escaped, that would have been trouble for Crosshair. So yeah, so absolutely he would have told Rampart that the batch is gone and then they can move on.
Mm.
I do think that this is a possibility as well, that it could mean that Crosshair isn't with the Empire yet. Maybe he's still sitting on that platform.
Is he still no?
Maybe he learned how to fish. Maybe he just started fishing for any, dead fish or ship parts that were there.
What did we say? He was just standing on the platform waiting for the Empire Uber to pick him up.
And they were like, sorry, all our Ubers are taken.
They couldn't find the address.
I guess I'm assuming that he's been part of the Empire again by now, just since, again, we saw him in the trailer. But it's possible we could see in a future episode the pickup. But yeah, I'm hopeful that it means there's even just like a tiny little bit of Crosshair that is that's got some good in him, that's willing to lie for his brothers. But after seeing what Rampart did to Wilco, I'm worried about.
That was like, I was not expecting that to happen. I was like, oh no, this got really dark really fast.
Exactly.
I was like, wow, my man fell off the cliff.
And how interesting is that, what is the mantra or the code of the clones is good soldiers follow orders. Wilco, that's all he did was follow orders. And he reported exactly what he saw. And he still had his life taken away from the Empire for doing the right thing.
Yeah, you could tell in that moment where he was like struggling with, oh, do I talk back? And then he makes that decision like, yeah, no, I'm not going to falsify the records.
I was going to point out, I didn't know that Wilco had a meaning until I saw in the chat Zach Bodewin say that Wilco lived up to his name. So I Googled Wilco, and it means expressing compliance or agreement, especially acceptance of instructions received by radio. But I was like, oh, what a great code name for a clone.
Isn't that something pilots said or something?
Yeah, must be.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I Googled it.
Gotcha. There you go.
Like a year ago.
Okay, it's short for will comply.
Comply, yes.
There we go.
There you go. Okay.
I'm learning all kinds of things.
What a perfect name for that character specifically.
Yeah. For a clone at this point in time, which I think that he was starting to break out of the control of the inhibitor chip when we see him go up to the clones who had fallen after Wrecker's amazing attack. He takes his helmet off and he's kind of looking around like, what is happening? Clones killing clones. I think that is maybe where he starts to turn, to the point where Rampart is like, here are your orders, and he does not comply and says he won't falsify any records. I feel like he is another clone, even though we didn't get to see him live up to his full potential like Hauser, but he's along that same lines of clones are starting to turn and get away from the inhibitor chip.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And the funny part is the batch weren't even looking to take out the clones, because the Wrecker and Hunter, whenever any member of the batch sees these clone troopers, they tend to use stun bolts, which I picked up on because of the rings. But the clone troopers are using actual blaster bolts.
Live ammo, yeah.
So they're using live ammunition to take down the Bad Batch, but the Bad Batch just want to temporarily stun them instead of taking down their brothers. So their brothers are like, we don't like you. Yo, the black sheep of the family.
Yeah. I think they know that their brothers are under control of the chip. So they know it's not truly their brothers acting the way they want to. I think after their experiences with Rex, I would think so.
true after seeing Wrecker and Crosshair, what those chips did to them. But I feel like we're kind of fuzzy on the details of the chip because I don't know if this was just an order or something, but Order 66 was basically all the chips are there for. And as far as I know, after that, the clones are just acting off of their free will.
Right.
So, as of right now, I think every clone who's working for the Empire is using their own free will.
Yeah.
But some of them want to desert and some of them don't, because otherwise there's no other way for these clone troopers to be doing these orders. So
yeah, I get that impression too, that the chips were designed just for Order 66. And then once that was implemented and it's now come and gone, that the chip is, no longer of use or service. And you're right. I do believe that the clones are now thinking on their own free will. And some of them, as we're going to see, I mean, Wilco was not that he was, doing something against the Empire. He was just following orders, and he felt that, there's no need to falsify his report, if it's, his report is true. But I think what we're going to see is more clones in situations where they're going to see the Empire taking down their own brothers, slaughtering them, and then they now making a decision as to, okay, well, do we want to stay and continue to work for the Empire, or do we escape? But yeah, I think this is just the first of Rampart and the Empire really taking out the clones. Unfortunately, I mean, it has to happen at some point. We don't know exactly how the clones are completely removed before the stormtroopers come in, but yeah, it looks like there's going to be more clones that are going to try to free themselves from the Empire.
That's interesting. I think we are fuzzy on the inhibitor chip and what it does and doesn't do. I think I've been hopeful that the chip is still in effect almost, because I don't want them to be attacking the Bad Batch of their own free will. But you make good points that it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. I think I've just been like, come on, it's the chip, right?
Yeah, well, maybe it just kind of wears off over time, and like some of the more strong-willed clones, it's wearing off a little bit faster for them. That could be the case.
It could be that they're in like a case of denial of that. Oh, we turned against the Jedi, and I guess that's what we wanted to do, and we just need to keep on listening to the Empire. It might be something like that.
Yeah, because even the Bad Batch themselves, at first they admitted like all we know is the life of a soldier. That and they're still kind of doing that with Sid. They're taking Sid's orders and doing her dirty work, but it's got to be hard for them to try to break out of that and think that there's something more for them, because that's what they were made for.
Yeah, I think that will be one of the big stories of all of the clones. I think it's called the Bad Batch, but I really think we're going to explore what happened to all of the clones, and how do these people who were created to fight live. Hopefully it's more than just Rex and Wolf and Gregor that continue on. How do they live when their purpose is fulfilled?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe a Clone Wars season 8.
Would be nice.
Bad Batch, like season 1, 2, 3, maybe, and then it's back to Clone Wars somehow.
It's like, oh, you thought the Clone Wars was over? No, we can't get over them.
Can't get over
it. Give it another season. Give it another go.
I think that would do great.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the Dooku stuff? Going back to Sereno, seeing what happened there. I loved all the little details about Dooku that we got, especially after having seen the Dooku episodes of Tales of the Jedi.
You want to go? Okay. All right.
I just see fingers pointed at me.
No. I thought you had something to say.
I know.
Either one.
I think it was actually quite nice to see all that Dooku owned, especially in such a short time period, because you'd figure that. What was Attack of the Clones again? Because that was a year or two before the order was given, Order 66, I think. So in around 19 BBY, before the Battle of Yavin, I'd say it's 17 or 16 BBY right now.
Mhm.
So it kind of didn't make sense why the Empire just so happened to be unloading the crates 3 years later.
Yeah.
But it was
point.
actually some good timing, because I think it was pretty awesome to see the batch on kind of an adventure that wasn't like, oh, the fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance or something, or oh, we're on another mercy mission trying to save clone troopers, or oh, we're just running one of these basic errands for Sid. This one was a lot more fun,
Mhm.
especially because we got to see the batch, trying to use their creative skills to escape that ship when the cargo containers rolled.
Well, Sid sold it very well that this was high stakes, that this is the mission that's going to earn you freedom.
Sid sold them.
Right, if it's completed successfully. But yeah, Dooku wasn't a character that I actually followed much, after the prequel trilogy. But now that we have Tales of the Jedi,
Tales of the Jedi brought
Yeah.
Dooku back to the light.
for me it did. Yes, I didn't really follow much of Dooku's backstory, but once I saw those episodes of Tales of the Jedi, I actually want to learn more about Dooku.
Mhm.
You read Dooku Lost.
Well, right. I went back and I read Dooku Jedi Lost, and I realized that he came from wealth of money. He was born into wealth
Yeah,
for
he had
generations. It was generational wealth. So he did have that kind of money set aside, and some of it, well, most of it maybe, was due to corruption. We know from the character Remar in the second episode where Romar,
Yeah.
from the second episode, who mentioned that Dooku didn't just steal from other worlds; he stole from his own home planet. So, like most politicians, there's corruption everywhere in the galaxy, and Dooku at one point was trying to fight corruption. He ended up being the corruptor.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
didn't realize it.
Right. And so, yes, so that money was made over time. He just kept making money hand over fist. And then at some point, the Empire was aware of how much money Dooku had. And I'm sure Palpatine feels that this money now belongs to him. Now
Yeah, I'm
that
sure he
Dooku,
was like, well, he was my Padawan.
Exactly,
and
right. So he's the
I ordered
beneficiary.
him to die, so now I'm just going to take all this stuff.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
So, there's a plan in place from Palpatine to, it was a lot of it was a big fortune. So it had to be planned, and it had to be calculating and,
But you need 3 ships to carry off your entire war chest.
it's a lot.
That looks like at least 450 containers, because you figure about 150 per ship. That looks like what they were carrying. So that's like 400, nearly 500 containers
Yes.
full of loot.
Yeah.
Belongs to the Empire.
The batch had that all within their grasp.
Yeah.
They're on this ship, and they're at the top, mind you, because there was no other way, I don't think, to get out of the containers. So they must have been close to the top or something. No way to run them off. Anyway.
Yeah.
There were ways to get to the top and take control of the ship. Because what they could have done was just taken control of the ship, flew it to Ord Mantell,
Taking it out into hyperspace and just take it back
taking
to
it out
Ord Mantell.
and taking it somewhere else.
Yeah.
But they also probably should have sabotaged comms and whatnot, made sure that there was no way for the Empire to track them where they were going, or maybe even dupe them and go to a fake destination before they head back. So that way the Imperials would just scour an empty desert planet for days and then be like, they're not here. I got blisters under this helmet. Why am I still out here?
Well, yeah, the batch got, separated, right? And some of them were in that container, and Wrecker and Hunter were like on top of the ship trying to get down off of it before it jumped into hyperspace. So it felt like
we're doing that situation.
Yeah, maybe if they were all together, they could have somehow managed to get control of the whole ship itself. But I did enjoy seeing Omega's thought process throughout these 2 episodes, where she kept thinking, oh man, this is such an awesome bounty. There's jewels, there's credits, and she was so focused on getting to that and completing the mission, that was all she kind of cared about until the very end. And that's a good lesson for her to learn.
I really liked her story because I was like, why is she so invested in that? Like, is she just into whatever the mission is? But when she told Echo, this is important because of what you said, and she's feeling guilty for the way that she has affected the Batch's life, and then he feels guilty for what he said. But then we get the whole Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade moment of let it go. You're more important than the treasure. That was all fantastic. But that moment really hit me where she's like, no, we need the treasure because you need the treasure. And I want to give you a normal life. I was like, oh, Omega.
Yeah. Yeah. She feels responsible that they are in this whole situation, and she wants to help them have a more normal life.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's a family, you know, so she cares about her brothers. So she wants what's best for them just as much as what's best for her. You know, when she overheard the conversation with Echo and Hunter, yeah, she does feel that we're here because of me, you know, so the only way that we can, you know, find happiness or find peace is to just grab this treasure, and then all of our problems will be gone. And, you know, it's a nice thought. It makes sense, but it's, you know, it's not the case. And I'm glad to have that scene with Echo and Omega, and he explained to her, you know, we made choices and he would make them again. You know, he had no regrets as to what they did with bringing her along, and, you know, she, you know, needed to be saved. They couldn't keep her on Camino, so they made the right decisions, and he assured her that, you know, what we did, we had to do, we would do it all over again. So I thought that was wonderful.
I want to jump back to your discussion about Romar and Dooku, just because I really loved that whole exchange of after watching Tales of the Jedi, which again, this episode should have aired back at the end of September, beginning of September or so. It kept getting delayed. So we were supposed to see this before Tales of the Jedi, but I'm kind of glad we saw it afterwards, and seeing two of those Dooku stories where he sees two senators, two leaders of planets who are taking credits, taking wealth from their own people for their own purposes. And that's the kind of corruption he wanted to stop. And then he turned around and did exactly that. And the exploration of Omega and Echo, where she was like, wait, aren't we just plundering this same treasure? And Echo says, well, we're going to use it for the right thing. And it's like, well, Dooku certainly said basically exactly that. It just, all of these lines that you can draw from Tales of the Jedi over to here and between different scenes, I thought was so well done.
Yeah, Dooku thought he was doing the right thing, you know, and over time he just kind of got more and more corrupt. But like you said, that line from Echo, oh, but we'll do the right thing with it. It's crazy
so funny
to hear him say that.
That I always have literally Christopher Lee's voice in my head from watching Lord of the Rings behind the scenes featurettes, because he's talking about Saruman and his desire for the ring. And he talks about how power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the fact that it's like Dooku's voice, even though he's talking about a completely different character. But that's what happened to Dooku, is just he craved the power to get rid of corruption, and that power corrupted him. And it's so, again, Tales of the Jedi did so much for Dooku, and I'm so happy about it.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. If Tales of the Jedi didn't come along, I don't think I would have had that interest of knowing more about Count Dooku that I have now.
And what's his name? Romar?
Yeah.
That guy? Mm-hmm. Him and Tech had a really sweet moment too, because Tech is sitting there trying to help him figure out how to fix whatever that machine was. I forget what it was, but Tech basically just thinks as him as a separatist, and he's like, no, I'm Serenian. I am from Sereno. And Tech has that moment where like, oh yeah, I never thought of it that way. That was such a pure moment between the two of them that I love to see.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Sereno had a history before the Empire, before the Clone Wars. So yeah, it's and it's good that Raymar,
Romar.
Romar knows his planet's history, and that they were, Sereno was a planet that was filled with riches. They had culture. He talked about the music, the arts that they had.
They had money.
Right, and they had all this,
Their money had money.
Yeah,
Their money's money had money.
from a long time ago, and it's just because of corruption and politicians and the people that are in office or in power just took advantage of the people of Sereno, unfortunately, and and left it in ruins.
Yeah,
But
you see how one man, Dooku, ruined basically this entire planet and
Yeah.
all the people on it,
Mhm.
which is devastating.
That scene between Romar and Tech was probably my favorite scene of the two. It makes so much sense for Tech to just think of separatists as separatists because he was created to fight them, and most of his life was in that war. And really, he's only like 10 or 11 years old, actually. So, like, he doesn't have that. Yeah, he doesn't have that full life experience, but then he gets to meet a person that he was like created to oppose. I just think that's part of the Empire wanting, or any faction in war wanting to dehumanize the opponent and be like, no, just think of them as the other to be fought, and don't think of them as people. But then when Tech is faced with the reality, he immediately shifts his thinking, and he doesn't hem and haw about it. He's just like, yeah, you're a person. And I just never took the time to realize that. I thought that was a really nice scene.
I'm
Yeah.
glad Tech can accept that too.
Yeah.
That he doesn't know everything, because you think when you have a brain that big,
Yeah.
you know it all, but he's not.
He's
Yeah,
a
I
quick
think
learner,
Tech-
though.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we're going to see a change in Tech maybe in this season because he seems to be more open to listening to people rather than say, well, this is the way it is. This is how it's supposed to be. This is what I know, and it can't be anything else but what I know. That's the vibe I got from him in season 1. But it seems to me in season 2, he's actually starting to open up and to learn more and listen more to
Mhm.
people, because
Yeah.
To hear out the bad batch
Yeah.
before he makes his own decisions.
right.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, and that
You're
builds off of
welcome.
something Molly, you said earlier when we were watching the episode about how, man, they just need to be more well-rounded. Like there's a scene where Hunter is trying to get the elevator to work, and he's like, Tech usually does this. But you're right. Like, we have seen Tech grow. We've seen Hunter growing as the father figure to Omega, but we even see like Wrecker do the way he pulls that cannon out and is like, get that battery pack, hook it up here. I'm like, that's a very Tech move.
Mhm.
So I think they are all growing and kind of becoming more well-rounded together.
Yeah, this season, I think we're going to see them all learn how to be kind of the whole package deal, whereas they're so used to in their minds, like, yeah, Tech does the Tech stuff and Wrecker smashes things and he's the muscle guy. And yeah, so I'm excited to see them all kind of work their way through the just figuring out how to be more well-rounded.
Yeah. Well, we have about 5 more minutes with Keith and Kerwin. So is there anything else that either of you wanted to talk about before we let you go?
No.
No,
How about you?
well, yeah, I just want to say that I am looking forward to season 2. We're going to be following along. Just want to say to you, Alex and Molly, just thank you for this opportunity. I mean, this is just fantastic. I've been watching your show for 4 years now.
Me as well. I started when you started.
Yeah. Okay. So
About that time.
yeah, and so I admire your knowledge, and your modesty. You don't ever come off as being the know-it-alls. So I really enjoy listening to you and learning from you, and just once again, just thank you for this opportunity. This is just a wonderful
It's been a great interview.
Yeah, it's just wonderful to
Is
just
this an interview?
yeah,
It's just a chat. We're just
It's
chatting.
just a chat, you know, it's just wonderful to just be on
A
on your
super chill
podcast.
chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super
It
chill.
is super chill. So
Chill.
thank you for the opportunity.
Wear the sunglasses, Mom.
Well, the
Thank
honor
you.
is all ours. Yeah, we
Yeah.
were so
It was
excited to
mine.
have both of you on. Like I said earlier, it really enjoyed seeing both of you in those roundtable interviews and getting to talk to the creators of Star Wars. And you both do a great job. Keith is so impressive. There's tons of people in the chat have been talking about just how smart you are, Keith, and
I
you
was gonna
really are.
bring
So
Thank
this
you.
one of these super chats up from Madman's
Hi.
Knowledge says, just want to say I love Keith and he's so smart. Yeah, the chat has been blowing up about how smart you are.
so keep it up.
So yeah, keep it
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
up. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
You
I
can
know
get
you're.
subscriber notifications and Twitter follows this entire time.
But you're both doing a stream at 7:30, right? In about half an hour.
Yes, we do. Yes. So we will be live streaming at 7:30. So we'll talk more about episodes 1 and 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
and their links are all in the description down below, so go follow
Yes.
them.
Yeah, got your website, got your Twitter, YouTube channel. So please go
Our
follow.
Patreon page as well.
Oh yeah, Yeah.
And our merch
get it,
store.
Keith. Get it, Keith.
Yes.
Those are awesome shirts.
We don't
I'm
have
gonna
a
get one.
runway, but I would show it off, but we don't have a runway.
So exactly. So, yes.
So
Yeah, all
the
that
website-
information is there, but go ahead.
Yeah, the website for our merch store is fathersongalaxy.myspreadshop.com.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right. And we're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Great.
And we have a website. So you'll be able to find us.
You guys got it all. Well, make sure everyone in the chat to check them out and anyone listening to this after the live stream. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll let you go take a quick break before your stream.
Yeah.
Back-to-back streams.
Yeah, we've
Yes.
been there.
Good job.
We're excited. So, all right. So if you're not busy, anyone who's listening or watching, 7:30, come on over.
Definitely.
We'd love to have you guys. And we often acknowledge our chat. We'll take little Q&R breaks.
Q&A.
Q&R. What's wrong with me?
Q&A.
Q&A breaks
Exactly.
during our streams. So please, if you're willing, check it out.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you
Definitely.
both. Have a great rest of your night, and may the force be with you.
Always.
Thank
Yes.
you. Take care.
Bye.
See y'all.
Ugh,
They were great. I mean, I knew they would be, but like, just I had a big old smile on my face for Keith the whole time. Just,
oh, I did too. He's so smart. When he was talking about the years, I was like, I don't even know the years. I don't think. What year is it?
I loved his point about tech and being able to not act like a know-it-all and to hear some new information, be like, huh, that's a different way of looking at things. And yeah, sometimes people know-it-alls can have trouble doing that. But I thought that was a great point. And speaking of Q&As, that's what we're going to do now. We're going to dive into chat. We got some super chats already. So we're going to start answering your questions, and let's dive into it.
Let's do it.
Are you ready? Did you scroll up in the chat?
I'm working on it. Here we
Okay,
go.
well,
You
I'll go ahead and
read it.
read. Dave Brooks has the very first one. Thank you, Dave. Brilliant start to the new series. Was concerned they would somehow ruin it, but it seems like they haven't. I agree. I'm glad you liked it. Also, I'm just distracted by the puppy dog profile picture,
Aw.
but
I don't know that I thought that they would ruin it, but I'm glad that you think that they have not ruined it. But yeah, I thought it was a brilliant start too.
I think there's always that just anxiety of like, oh, I hope it keeps up the momentum. I hope it's as good as the first season. Like, I know I'm going to feel that. Even with The Mandalorian, I'm like, there's no reason to think it would be any different. But I'm going to be like, oh, I hope it's still good.
Yeah.
But I don't think these were my favorite 2 episodes, but I still really enjoyed them. It still had a lot to say and a lot of depth to it. So yeah, I was into it.
Like I said, it surprised me how excited I was to get back into the Bad Batch. Real quick, a couple people in chat were asking about our drawings.
Oh yeah, I saw Star Orange asking about that, and I was too late in getting Keith and Kerwin to sketch something, but Molly and I did sketch our favorite scenes of the episodes. So, do you want to go first or me?
I'll go first. So this is not the right tank, but my favorite part was Wrecker turning into a tank, basically, and
I think
literally saying "boom."
It's a pretty good Wrecker. The helmet's on point.
Yeah. I just drew what I know as what looks like a tank. I didn't draw a Star Wars tank, so I apologize. But
Well, I think that it's more a metaphor, really.
yeah,
When Wrecker became the tank. Yeah.
he became one with the tank. Yes.
Which I did love that. I mean, that's just cool. Walking around with a cannon. It reminded me of Halo when they would when you can rip the little minigun and just carry it around. That's just cool.
Yeah. And like we talked about at the end, where he's just sitting there like admiring it and like, my new toy. So cute.
How dare you, Reefton? My drawing is amazing. And we haven't talked about it yet. I meant to bring it up, but there was one little moment that I really appreciated. I was glad to see that he lives and he's fine. AZ 345211896246498721374 is still alive. He lives.
Our favorite group of numbers. Oh my god, his face. He's so happy.
Because he's alive and he's a bartender now.
or scared. I don't know what emotion that is, but I love it.
That's just his face. I don't think he has any other emotions. But I was glad because at the end of season 1, I think he ran out of battery or something, and they still got him. But I was like, is he going to be okay? And he's okay. He's fine. He's working in SIDS, which I love that every time they come in, apparently, he introduces himself. It's like, hey, it's me. Remember me?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Did I know the full name off the top of my head? Of course. Of course I did. I wasn't holding the whiteboard up so that I could read the number off the whiteboard below it. There's no way. And it was still hard. I was reading it and it was hard.
Your head's just full of numbers.
That is true.
Let's see. Next up, we've got a super chat from Sweet Feet Pete. A very generous super chat. Thank you. Well, 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 look who's back. I missed y'all. Thank you. Thank you. I missed doing live streams. We didn't do them for like almost a whole month. And now I'm like, I was so excited to get back to doing this.
Yeah. I was excited and a little nervous just now that we're doing it. And like, yeah, it's all coming back to me. It's weird how you take just a couple weeks off. And we do that every year pretty much of like, let's just chill in between series. It's the holiday. We can relax. And then getting back into it, I'm like, I don't remember how we did this.
Yeah.
But now it's easy.
How do we talk to the internet? I don't know.
Our next one is from Power Rangers Explained. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you for some normalcy with everything going on this week. Sending thoughts and prayers to Damar Hamlin and his family. Yeah, I don't know everything going on with that. Molly was telling me a little bit that football player is in got seriously injured.
Yeah, I don't know his current status, but he was hit, or he hit someone in the chest in like a 1 in a million chance moment that like stopped his heart. So very scary stuff. If anyone in the chat knows any up-to-date info on that, I would like to know too. But yeah, definitely keeping him in our thoughts.
Gio Flores has the next one. Thank you, Gio, and hello. Hey guys, missed the streams. Bad Batch was great. Glad you liked it.
Yes. Nerdy Nightly says he's still in the ICU, but official word is he's improving slowly. Good. That's good to know. Thanks, Nerdy.
Yeah, and hi, Nerdy. I was thinking of you today, Nerdy, because at Star Wars Celebration, Nerdy got me this shirt because I didn't have time to get into the store, and Nerdy kindly got me everything on my shopping list.
We gave him a big old list of stuff that we needed from the Celebration store.
Yeah, he immediately regretted that offer. He was like, "Oh, do you want me to pick up some stuff?" And I was unfurled a scroll.
Yeah. The heaviest was the books, though. That must have been hard to carry around. Literal Table 756. Thank you for the super chat. Where is Gonki? Is he safe? Is he all right?
That is a good question.
Where is
he? He's still around. I'm sure he has to be. It's just he wasn't in every episode in season 1, so I think it's okay. But I'm sure Gonki is still around. He's a valued member of the team, and Record needs him to stay swole.
Yes. I'm sure he was just off charging or something.
Yeah.
Does he need to charge, or he charges other things?
I mean, he does charge other things, but I assume he needs to charge as well so that he can charge other things. Maybe he's got like a solar-powered hat. That's how he charges. We can just assume he was off charging.
I like the idea of him having a hat, period.
Eleanor Mueller. Hey, Eleanor. How are you?
Hello.
Thank you for the next super chat. Maybe it's because we're straight off of Andor, but I was very worried for the team this episode. Season 2, episode 2. The batch gets mimicked. I had the same reaction.
We both had that like quick flash to Nimic getting crushed by the cargo from Andor, and we saw the cargo flying everywhere in that scene. I was like, oh no, it's gonna happen again.
Yeah. Something bad happened. The giant 150 kilogram cargo box or whatever did land on Tech's leg. But I saw the worst case scenario, because now that's just a thing that happens in Star Wars. You get crushed to death by a flying box. But I was very worried for Tech throughout this whole episode.
Yeah. I was too. But he made it.
He was injured. I guess that's another example of them being more and more well-rounded, is that Tech got to be the badass. Tech was the one up in the trees defending Echo and Omega while they were stuck on the cliff. So that's Tech kind of getting to be a little bit of Wrecker.
Yeah.
That's a nice little moment.
I can't imagine walking around on a broken leg, though.
Yeah, a shattered femur, he called it. And he's walking around. I think Tech exaggerates.
Or he's just that cool, where he's like, it's fine, I got this.
Yeah.
The next super chat is from Madman's Knowledge. How many episodes have you already seen?
Okay, so I've thought about how we answer this, because I don't want to say. Like, full transparency, we got the screeners. We have access to episodes 1 through 14, but we have not watched them all. And I don't want to say how many we have watched, because I don't want to give away information. I promise we will not spoil anything. I'm not even going to speculate on things that I know. When it comes to the content that we're making, I am making videos right after I watch the episode. So the videos that come out for the next week until episode 3, when I made them, I did not know what happened in episode 3, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you've been making your review videos right after watching that episode before we move on to any other ones.
Yeah, I'm trying to still make the content the same way we would, but having the screeners basically means that we don't have to wake up at the crack of dawn and scramble.
Yes.
It's nice. It means we can do it a little more spread out and slow, but I'm still trying to do everything the same way we would have normally.
And I just don't want to get too far ahead because especially doing these live streams, if I get too far ahead, I'm not going to be able to keep in my mind straight what I have seen and what people haven't seen, and I don't want to accidentally spoil something. So
Yeah,
we're keeping it reeled in for now. We haven't seen all the screeners we have.
right. We just want to be careful about spoilers, and I'm never going to make a video that's like, oh, I have this theory, and then like, because I know what happens at the end, I'm not going to do that.
It's right.
Oh, look how smart I am. Do
you want to read this next one?
Yeah, WC1376C. That's like, oh, that's getting up there in the name. Thank you for the next super chat. I've been trying to convince my son for at least the last 4 years to start a channel about his Star Wars universe views. This is absolutely awesome. Aw. Well, yeah, introduce your son to Keith and Kerwin. Show him what's up.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that because I feel like everyone and their grandmother has a YouTube channel at this point. So maybe they just need a little push. And I think watching their channel would do that.
Yeah, just an example of how to express your views and that there is interest in it. I mean, that's people always wonder, oh, is it too late to start a YouTube channel or a Star Wars channel? And the answer is always no. Like your views are always going to be unique to you, and people are going to like your style and your vibe. So that's it. Like, you're the selling point.
Yeah, it's all about vibes. and if you don't want to bother with YouTube, just go on TikTok.
Yeah, that's true too.
Easy, quick, to the
little
point.
Fast ones.
Yeah. Let's see. 10 in has the next super chat. Thank you. Omega needs cargo pants to collect that cash.
I'm glad you had to read that one. See, cargo pants or shorts serve a valuable purpose.
You want to wear cargo pants? You go right ahead. Alex
I want to wear cargo shorts.
So much crap because 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I said don't wear cargo shorts anymore. You're not in high school.
What if I need to put a war chest in my pockets?
Do it. I don't care what you wear now.
What if one of those
people only see
treasures,
us from here down?
What if one of the treasures is a golden hammer and I don't have a carpenter's loop to keep it? What then, Molly?
I hope you have a golden belt to keep your pants up for your golden hammer hanging off of your pants.
I'll find one in the war chest somewhere. Oh, Maddie, I promise you I have some jorts. I don't wear them often. Mostly for jokes.
Those are too tight.
Oh, Gio is on team no cargo pants. But the war chest, Omega would have had it all if she just had cargo pants.
You know, I think Omega could pull off cargo pants.
Oh, she can, but I can't?
Yeah.
Can Han Solo pull off cargo pants?
No, but he can pull off a cargo vest.
That's true.
With all the pockets in it.
Yeah, that's true. Fine.
I will always find a way around this.
10, I'm with you. Cargo pants.
Let's see. I read that one already. Where are we at? Scroll. Got another one from WC1376C. You saw it clearly at the end when Wrecker was smiling at the cannon. He was so proud about figuring out how to get it working for the group's benefit.
You know, I did not view it that way. But I like that view. I viewed it as just he was cradling his new explosive toy. which I also think works. But I like that. I like the idea that he is experiencing pride for like, hey, I MacGyvered something together. I did the tech thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I hadn't thought about when I was covering the episode earlier. But Molly, you brought it up, and then Keith and Kerwin expanded on it. And I'm like, yeah, the clones are all becoming more well-rounded people, and I think that's a fun little arc that they could all have.
Yeah, and Wrecker basically got to tell Hunter in that moment, like, I know what I'm doing, man. Because Hunter was like,
Yeah.
why do you need this battery? Like,
Yeah.
the tank's not going to work.
Mhm.
He's like, I got this. Trust me.
Give me that battery pack. I think that's really fun.
Yeah. But also, new toy.
It can be both.
It can be both. Got another super chat from Gio.
Thank you, Gio. Also, I've noticed how amazing the beautiful CGI keeps getting. The animation team has been killing it. Yeah, I have to stop myself from just constantly talking about how wonderful it looks. I probably shouldn't stop myself, but I don't want to just every episode be like, this shot was amazing, that was amazing, that was amazing. But I think this show looks beautiful.
Yeah, it really does.
I love all the details.
Even from watching the first season, like the first season looks great, but it's getting even better than that. And it just, yeah, it looks so good. I feel like I am ready, personally, I'm ready for a different animation style to come forward in some new animated show, but I'm always excited to see how much better this one gets.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's going to happen. It's going to happen next year with the Young Jedi Adventures. So I think that they're going to continue to introduce more and more animation styles, art styles to Star Wars. But since this is a direct continuation from the Clone Wars, it makes sense to keep it. And plus, it looks so good.
Yeah. Everyone looks so good. We can see all of Omega's amazing new haircut. Joel Davis has the next super chat. Nice to have Bad Batch back. A nice low-key show that doesn't have all the stress of watching like the live action shows do. Yes.
Yeah.
Good point.
We were talking about that early on, kind of the pendulum swing between Andor being very high level stress all the time to Bad Batch is more lighthearted. And we were laughing about like the cargo container was stressful after seeing what happened to Nimic, but also the Bad Batch has been through so many crash landings over the course of the Clone Wars in season 1. It's like a crash landing is not going to kill anyone. I guess it'll break someone's leg, but you're not that stressed out all the time. It's weird. Like Rebels did something similar where when something bad was going to happen, it was weirdly telegraphed, like just through the tone and everything. Mm-hmm. Like and not to mention the title of that season 4 episode, Jedi Knight, you're like, oh, I have a feeling this is going to be rough. But the way the Bad Batch is treated, especially in an episode like this, it's more just happy-go-lucky. Everything's bright. You're not as worried the whole time.
Right. Yeah, because I was editing our reaction this morning, I was looking back at old pictures from old reactions, and like us watching Andor, we're just kind of like completely just don't know what to think or say or do, but like our reactions for this show are always so much fun, and we're always smiling and laughing. So yeah.
I like Brandon Blackmore says, no stress yet. Old Crosshair McGrumpy isn't here yet. True.
Old Crosshair McGrumpy.
Old Crosshair Grumpy Pants.
I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. I will bring up the next super chat though.
I got it. Star Orange is our next super chat. Thank you, Star. I wonder if Omega will run into more kids her age, like with Cut's kids. The idea of her loving being a soldier instead of a regular kid is interesting. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Through the trailer, we do know Gunji is on the way. So I imagine that there's going to be some interaction. I mean, we've seen them side by side fighting. They're still in soldier mode there, but it's similar to the Hera episodes last season, where it's always fun to see Omega with other kids. And I think that's a major theme of the whole series, really, and mostly Hunter's journey, where Hunter wants her to be able to be a kid. He wants her to just be able to have fun. She didn't have that on Camino. I mean, she was amazed at what dirt was in episode 2 of season 1. So Hunter just wants her to be able to be a child and have fun, but that's just not really possible with the Empire around. I think he and the Syndulas had that exact exchange back in season 1, that you have to find the balance between letting a kid be a kid, but also knowing when is the time to not shelter them and do basically what they're doing in this season, this series, or in these first 2 episodes, of bringing her along and teaching her what she needs to know to survive and thrive in this world. That's how I see Hunter's journey right now. There was a really nice little moment after Omega was like hanging off of the ship, shooting at the crabs and stuff. And Hunter was concerned. He's like, why is Omega hanging off the ship? But they got inside and he was like, be careful. And she said, it was pretty fun. And he gives her a smile. So I just see him wanting her to have some fun. And I like it when she is able to. And hopefully she keeps being able to do that with kids her age in the future. Thank you. Molly's heading back, and we're going to crack open some cold ones and keep on going.
Some cold ones.
I'm moving on to the next one from Matthew Byron. Thank you, Matthew. Have you been to the Scum and Villainy Cantina in Hollywood? Would love to buy you and Molly around. Hope you had a great holiday. Yeah, we've been there multiple times.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's great.
We've been there so many times, but the last time we went there, we got to sing karaoke, which was a new experience.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was fun. If you see us singing karaoke, we've probably had a couple of these.
Yep.
And,
if you see us drinking or singing karaoke, we've been drinking some cold ones.
And we may or may not be any good, but yeah, no,
we're very good.
It's a great bar. Anytime we're in that area, we try to go there at least once. But
yeah.
Well,
maybe someday we'll run into you there, but we live on the East Coast, so
bummer.
It'll just have to be kismet.
Have to be what?
Kismet. It's like fate.
Oh. Ice has the next super chat here. Great start to the new season. Felt like a return to form. A lot of fun and really well paced too. So glad to be back with this crew. I did like the pacing of it. I was afraid it would feel like, I don't know, some of the Clone Wars episodes that have a lot of action in them, you're kind of like, okay, we get it. Move it along. But I feel like they're doing a good job at balancing the action and the emotion and the story behind each character.
I do think that I guess I was expecting something a little bit bigger from the first 2 episodes. We ended with such a bombshell with the destruction of Camino at the end of season 1. And so I kind of thought we would deal with some really big galaxy-wide stakes at the beginning, middle, and end of this season. It's okay that we didn't. Still fully enjoyed this episode. It just wasn't my favorite big episode, I guess. Like, I don't want to say it wasn't my favorite premiere. There's only been one other one. And the first episode of Bad Batch was really, really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just nice to have these characters back. I missed this family. I missed Wrecker. I missed Tech and Omega especially. But it's always good to spend time with them, and we get to do it for the next like 3 months.
Yeah. And like we've been talking about, like obviously we love each member of the Bad Batch for what they're known for, but it's nice seeing them learn new things about themselves, new things about others, and just grow as human beings.
Yes. Oh, I keep getting distracted at all the dogs and the profile pictures that we see. But
Oh, that one looks like a beagle.
Yeah.
Or beagle
Ryan
mix.
K. Thank you for the next super chat. Hey guys, huge fan. Should I do the right thing and have salad for dinner, or the fun thing and eat a Trader Joe's frozen burrito? Follow-up question: what's your favorite Star Wars universe food?
Now, I love a good salad. I eat a salad almost every day, but for lunch. I don't know if dinner salad is going to do it for me. So I say go for the burrito and eat a salad for lunch tomorrow.
I'm going to go for the salad. I'm going to say salad. I don't think frozen burrito that's more my lunch.
Well, he's going to heat it up.
I know he's going to microwave. You're going to eat a frozen burrito, sir?
The way you said it, you were like, frozen burrito.
No. Like, I am certainly not above frozen food, but I usually eat my frozen food for breakfast or lunch. So I think I would want a salad for dinner.
Have you ever had a Trader Joe's frozen burrito?
I don't know that I have.
They might be amazing.
If they are, go for it.
Do whatever your heart tells you is right.
Trust in the Force, and you'll know what to do. And you will receive no judgment from either of us. Because honestly, the burrito sounds pretty good. Yeah. But what is our favorite in-universe Star Wars food?
Ooh. On theme, I will go with something we saw in season 1 of the Bad Batch, and I will say Mantel Mix.
Yeah.
That popcorn, because we got sent a care package from Disney for season 1 with a bunch of Bad Batch stuff in it, and they sent us a pack of Mantel Mix, which is basically just like caramel popcorn with different flavors of like coating over it. Oh, it's so good.
I'm gonna I'm trying to think of something besides what we've actually eaten, because we have eaten the Trask chowder technically when we made it for our April Fool's video. But
maybe we did something wrong, but I didn't like it.
It's because we were making it half blind with 4 arms. It's
but we did everything right.
We were not in our best cooking teamwork mode.
Sure, it was more for the looks.
Cosplayed as Gourmanda. I'm trying to think what else we've actually had. Like the stuff at Galaxy's Edge is pretty good.
We've had the Ronto wraps.
The tip yip. I think the roast tip yip is what I like there.
Yeah, whatever their version of a Caesar salad is, we've had. I don't remember what they called it. I remember that coffee drink with the little pebbles on the top was really, really good. That's not really food, but it had food in it, so that counts.
Yeah, I mean, they were like Cocoa Puffs, basically, right? But
okay, so the Star Wars version of Cocoa Puffs is.
What is a Star Wars food you want to try that you haven't? I feel like Nuna is basically just turkey or chicken, so I want to try something a little more exotic.
I'm trying to think of all the food that was on the table in Book of Boba Fett when he's sitting there with all the guests.
There is a roast Nuna.
Anything on that table I would have eaten. The roast Nuna, now that I think about it, looked pretty tasty.
I just assume that's chicken. That's why I'm like, I want to try something different.
Chicken or pork, maybe.
But then the next thing that pops into my head is like Cyril's cereal or the blue noodles, which I'm sure are just noodles, but they're blue.
I forgot about those. Those did look really good.
I know. Something about them.
You can tell when we haven't had dinner and we get a food question, we're like, ooh, What about
Yeah.
this? What about this?
I'll eat anything that Dexter Jester makes. I'm in.
Mhm.
I trust
Oh
him.
yeah, I just remember all the little dishes from the Lego game that you had to
Mhm.
take and serve to different people, but I don't remember what they were. But that is a great question, and I look forward to hearing what you decided to have for dinner.
And Andy just suggested using the burrito in the salad. Best of both worlds. You're welcome.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Star Orange 36 with another super chat. Also, do you think Rampart really thought the batch was dead? Did Crosshair report that they all died on Camino? So we kind of touched on this earlier.
But that actually made me think of, what if Crosshair, there is another option. I was thinking the options are either Crosshair is still on that platform or he lied to Rampart. It's possible he told Rampart the truth and then Rampart said, like, no, I killed the Bad Batch. Maybe Rampart is the one lying. There's a chance of that.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to Crosshair's stuff, because if he did cover that up and say they were dead, then yeah, maybe there's a little part of him deep down that just hopes the Empire forgets about them and isn't worried about them anymore, and they could just go their separate ways.
I think I still think that Crosshair lied. I think he lied to the Empire, but it would be interesting if he actually told the truth and Rampart is trying to pretend like his attack on Camino went as best as it possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Sorry,
know.
I'm typing.
Hopefully we find out.
Yeah.
Our next one is from Matthew. Again, thank you, Matthew. Why does Palpatine refer to Leia as the Princess of Alderaan in Rise of Skywalker? Alderaan has long been obliterated, and she's had many other titles since.
Well, he's an old, senile man, and so he's going to go back to his glory days and use whatever terms he used from back then.
He's probably said something about Alderaan multiple times, and they're like, "You blew that up, sir," and he's like, "What? I don't remember that." So they've given up on correcting him. But really, I think he's a crotchety old man. He's probably using it as an insult almost, like, the Princess of Alderaan that
Oh
we
yeah, so
destroyed. Bleh.
basically like not what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my god, my mind just went blank. Not acknowledging anything she's done since then.
Oh
That's
yeah,
kind
that
of
too. Yeah,
it's kind of a way of him to just get one last dig in.
yeah, kind of. You know how I remember you or remember her is from that planet I blew up.
Just some princess of some
Yeah,
long
certainly not
lost.
as the leader of the rebellion that helped destroy me.
Yeah. He thinks it's a sick burn. You're right, Maddie.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, got it. Donnie Rand has the next super chat. Another great picture. I'm loving all the pictures on everyone's comments. Time to add Wilco to the ever-growing list of, quote, show up and blow up, end quote,
No.
clones from the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch gone too soon. Oh,
Yeah.
I've never heard them referred to that, but I'm going to start using that. Thank you,
I mean,
Donnie.
I like that. It's sad, but I like it. It's funny. Yeah, I'm glad Hauser hasn't blown up yet, as far as we know. But it does seem like they're introducing a lot of clones, and I think it's effective because of the Clone Wars and the way that the Clone Wars communicated to us that, hey, these are all individual people. They're not just red shirts to be blown up immediately. So you still feel for them, even though Wilco was like the most generic clone. Just white armor, shoulder pauldron, basically looked like a reg, probably the standard reg model, but still, when you give him a name and you give him that one little bit of characterization where he has to make a choice, and his choice is to not follow Rampart's orders, you're like, oh, I like this guy.
Mhm.
And then he's dead. But I think it's just like such good storytelling throughout the Clone Wars to make us. Clones have to do so little to make us like them.
Right. They're just charming.
Yeah.
Real quick, I skipped over one because StreamYard does not acknowledge the Biggs Mega Fans messages that get sent in. So I did see one of those from Sweet Feet Pete. Thank you. What if the clone we see in Kenobi is the end game for all clones who don't have their chips removed?
I mean, I won't be surprised if that's the case because, well, I think that one clone is probably indicative of where things are headed. I don't think the Empire values the clones. We already know the TK troopers are running around, so I think they're quickly like, all right, let's phase these clones out. We got rid of the Camino facilities. I guess to them, the clones are even kind of evidence of what they did to the Jedi, or they potentially could be. So they're probably just trying to get the clones out of the way. And I don't think they're going to take care of them or anything.
Yeah, but like, I mean, of course, in my mind, I'm like, they end with something good. Like somehow they do get taken care of, but at the same time, there's so many clones out there. There's bound to be a few on select worlds, especially a world like, what was the name of that planet?
Daiju?
Daiyu.
Yeah.
Like a city planet like that. There's bound to be clones all over the galaxy that, you know, get left behind and are having to beg for credits, and it's really sad to think about, but you can't save them all if they are going to be saved. So, and that moment in Kenobi is so sad.
Well, that hopefully, I mean, we know Rex is going to be in this season again. He was in the trailers, so that, I mean, he at the end of episode 7 or 8 of season 1, he's like, I'm going out to help our brothers. They need help. They have these chips in their heads, and I'm gonna get them taken out. So, to me, that's what Rex's goal is. I don't think there's anyone else in the galaxy that has that goal. I'm sure there are some people who value the clones, but for the most part, I think the Empire is like, well, your job is done, your purpose is served, and we're gonna throw you away. I mean, that's even the Kaminoans talked about the clones in a very gross way in the Clone Wars. They said something like, we're running low on Jango Fett's DNA. Should we just like trash this latest batch? Like what? And Shakti is like, what are you talking about? No, she fought against that, I think. I think Shakti was like, what are you talking about? They're people.
I thought she said something, maybe it was earlier in the episode. I thought she said something to that same effect. But yeah, the way they talk about the clones, it's like they're just, you know, at this factory.
We made them, they're our property, blah, blah, blah.
All they care about is quality control. And if they think the DNA is degrading, they're like, yeah, just get rid of those and we'll start a new batch.
Yeah.
Sad. I think who was next?
Looks like it's Maddie Gunner. Thank you, Maddie. What do you think of Tech? What do you think Tech is like as a teacher? I hope he gives Omega gold stars for knowing about different ships. It's funny. I thought that the verbal gold star he gave her when he just said, "I'm impressed," that made me feel good. So hopefully he gives a lot of positive reinforcement like that.
Yeah. I think he's probably a great teacher, but I think he's becoming an even better teacher because he's learning how to express his emotions better. He's learning how to communicate with Omega in this teacher-student relationship where he probably isn't used to teaching someone this stuff. He's just tech. He knows all the tech stuff that he needs to know. So I think he'll continue to become a better teacher, but he's probably learning a lot himself along the way about how to be a good teacher.
I think you're right. I mean, maybe that's what's helping them all become more well-rounded. Interesting. This might turn into a video, but the way that they're all taking on Omega and teaching her various skills. I mean, the reason they wanted to give Anakin a Padawan, or the reason the Jedi give any Jedi a Padawan, is because teaching is also a great teacher.
Mhm.
Having to teach someone else teaches you about yourself. And I think that that's an interesting way that Omega is helping them all grow as they help her grow.
Yeah, and it makes me think of, Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. Part of her character arc is she gets to learn all these various lessons throughout the seasons from all these different Jedi. Even though she's Anakin's Padawan, we see her learning lessons from everyone, and that makes her a more well-rounded Jedi in the long run, in the end. So this gives me high hopes for Omega and her being a very well-rounded person because she's getting all the different aspects of the Bad Batch and learning all the different lessons that they can teach.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. They're all gonna help each other come together and grow. It's beautiful.
Ice has another super chat here. I'm really liking what they're doing so far in season 2. Firstly, I love the updates to the character designs. Same. And I'm glad they started off by giving some focus towards Echo, one of my favorites, and Tech. Yeah, we were talking earlier on our walk how much we love the new paint jobs on their armor.
Yeah, I love the blue on Hunter, and Wrecker's going with like a brown and yellow. It's like the opposite of what's happening to the regs, where they're losing all their personality, all their armor customization. They went from all of their various legions and different colors, little design elements. Now it's just plain white. That's it. So it's fun to see the Bad Batch go in the complete opposite direction and continuing to customize their armor so it doesn't even closely match their own team anymore. They're all becoming individuals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But also to talk about Echo and Tech, yes. All of season 1, that was like my biggest criticism of season 1, is that Echo is just kind of there. And this is something Kerwin said earlier. I thought he said it very well, that he would speak up. He would say like, hey, we should be doing more, and just no one would listen. And now it feels like they're listening to him a little bit more, and he's able to express his opinions more, which I also understand why. Like, we knew who Echo was, and we needed to get to know the Bad Batch a little bit more, so they got more screen time. But I'm still glad to see that Echo is getting some front and center spotlight.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say. I got distracted by chat.
Well, then I'll just say that I really liked Tech as well. And I
Yes.
loved his scene with Romar.
Okay, I remember what I was going to say now.
Okay.
So Echo, even though he felt very much a part of the Bad Batch because of who he was and like all of his enhancements, he was still coming into a very close-knit family.
Mm.
Even though they hadn't been together for that long, but they had already been through so much when they found Echo. So it makes sense that it would have taken some time for him to feel like part of the group, and for everyone else to learn how to include him in the conversations and make him feel heard. That's just something that is hard for groups of friends and families in general. But
yeah, that's a great point.
yeah,
just that it takes some time to gel with a new group of friends. Yeah.
they need to play some improv games.
Do some trust building exercises.
Zip zap zap.
Zip zap zap. Next up is also from Ice. Thank you for another super chat, Ice. I was impressed with Tech's characterization in this, actually. I feel like he's the hardest to write for because he's so analytical and doesn't really do emotion, but this was a great start. It feels like he's talking about me. Sorry.
I don't do emotions.
Do that.
That's a good way of putting it, though, because he's a very smart and technically minded person. So he's constantly just worrying about that kind of stuff. But he's learning that he can be of value in other areas too.
Yeah. I love, to talk about how he's analytical. I think it was the season finale of season 1 where Crosshair talks about how he's mad at the batch, and Tech says something. He doesn't defend Crosshair. He just helps Crosshair explain himself. And Crosshair's like, why are you on my side? And he was like, just because I understand you doesn't mean I agree with you. But he's able to communicate Crosshair's emotions.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But yeah, I really, really liked Tech in this episode, getting to talk to Romar and have his worldview be challenged and him accepting it. And like Keith said earlier, he didn't let his know-it-all personality be a roadblock. He was just like, that's a new worldview. I will adjust.
It's so perfect because what you said earlier in the live stream, how many years old are they actually? Like
12?
10 or okay, 12-ish.
I think they would be 10 at the start of the Clone Wars. Around there.
You think about when you're that age and you're still learning a lot about being social and social cues and all that kind of stuff, but it's also showing us that like someone that's been around for not that long can very easily shift their viewpoint if they learn new information. Yeah. Whereas like the older you are, the more crotchety you get.
Yeah.
And the less you want to think different and change. But he immediately took that information and was like, you know what? You're right. And I'm going to keep that in mind from now on. Which I could go on and on about kids and learning and what should or shouldn't be taught in schools. But
well, that's a big thing when it comes to Force sensitivity and Star Wars, and the idea that it's a lot easier for a kid to recognize their strength in the Force because they don't have any of the mental hangups that an adult has. That's why Yoda says Luke is too old. Even Anakin is too old. It's like they want to start cultivating the Force when someone's young, when it's strong, and it just fades away as you get older. And it doesn't mean that it's impossible to learn. It's just harder. That would be an interesting story for them to tell, which they technically kind of have with Anakin a little bit, but Luke, Leia, Rey. But to really dig into an older Force user, they could do it with Finn. Honestly, that would be maybe the perfect place for it, is someone recognizing the Force when they're in their 20s and being like, okay, how do you break through all of the preconceptions that you've built up over your life to connect back with the Force?
Yeah. Well, even Grogu is 50.
Yeah.
And look at him.
Look at him. Look at him
Look at
go.
him go. I can't wait for him to return.
Look at him. That's Molly wakes me up every day by just bringing that little Grogu in, and she shoves him in my face and goes, look at him. Look at him.
One day we're gonna see him again on TV doing new stuff we've never seen him do before.
He's gonna do the magic hand thing. It's gonna be so cute.
The world will be changed forever. Anyways, different show, different stream. Yeah. This next super chat, I know Alex will be excited to talk about, from Kevin Thielman. See the Last Crusade reference, Omega, in the container?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Indiana Jones references throughout this episode. Just the fact that it began at the end of an adventure, at the end of a heist. I mean, those crabs might as well have been the Jovitos chasing Indiana Jones away from or towards the plane at the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark. The container falling out of the sky is kind of like them using the raft to jump out of the plane in Temple of Doom. And then we got the whole trilogy there. And then at the end, Last Crusade, we have the Indiana let it go moment where Echo has to tell Omega, the treasure is not worth your life. Like, I would rather have you than the treasure.
Mm-hmm. You are the treasure, Omega.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I on one hand, I love it. On the other hand, I'm so annoyed because I just updated my every Indiana Jones reference in Star Wars video.
You know we're gonna get a lot more because we got.
I mean, I know it's gonna happen, but I didn't think. Well, we got a lot in Andor, and enough so that I was like, "Oh, this is worth an update," and not 2 months like now I'm mad that this wasn't airing at the same time as Andor because I could have just lumped it all together. But
oh no, you have to do another Indiana Jones video.
Well, I don't want to update it every month.
I'm kidding. We can wait and see how many we get in this entire season.
I'll update it again after the Dial of Destiny. That seems like an appropriate time.
Yes.
There we go.
We've settled it.
Francisco 501st, thank you for the next super chat. Hello, guys. Welcome back. I'm just letting you know that recently I'm having trouble with Google Pay, so I won't be able to be a part of the channel for a time. Also, Clone Troopers Lives Matter. That's okay.
You're welcome in chat anytime.
Yeah. Everyone's welcome.
Yes, Clone Troopers Lives Matter. Absolutely. Yeah, man, use the stun. What's up with that? All live ammo. They saw them using the stun option, and that still didn't change their mind.
Yeah, they're like, hey, they're not trying to kill us. Should we not try to kill them? And they're like, whatever. I still think that the chip is affecting the clones in some ways.
I do too. I think it's still going to take even more time to wear off. We still don't even know if it does technically wear off or how that works, but I think the stronger willed clones, it'll wear off faster for them. But some who, I don't want to say aren't as strong willed, but are, I guess, more content with just following orders, it's not going to wear off as quickly for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all just comes down to what each clone has been through, their own personal experiences.
That's true, because
some clones have seen different stuff.
Yeah, and that works well with the fact that, Rex worked so closely with Anakin, who encouraged him every day to think on his own and improvise and just try to be his own person and be a good leader. And that's why he's awesome.
It's like, and even he succumbed to it. I mean, he was able to fight it for a little while, which was cool, and heartbreaking. But yeah, like someone like Hauser, we don't know if he actually went through with Order 66. Like maybe there just wasn't a Jedi around, so maybe the chip didn't activate in the same way. I don't know. The chips are still very much a mystery to us, so
Mhm.
we'll have to just see how things play out.
And I think they'll continue to be that way. I think I don't know how all this is going to end and what they're going to show us with the rest of the clones, but I don't know that they're going to go into any super detail about the chips themselves. Although that article that I sent you from StarWars.com did say we're going to see Nala Se, and so maybe she'll have something to say about it.
Yeah, because she's at Mount Tantus for all we know.
We have to go to Mount Tantus at some
I guess
point.
that maybe that's what I was kind of hoping we'd follow up on in these first episodes. I was thinking like double episodes for the premiere, double episodes in the middle, double episodes at the end. So in my mind, I'm like, these are going to be the big ones, and then everything else in between will be more the one-off adventures. So I was just kind of hoping to see some Mount Tantus stuff, but that's okay.
Yeah, I do hope they don't wait till the very end to show us that stuff. Maybe the middle 2-episode one. I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited for that stuff.
Yeah.
WC1376C parentheses Lone Star _LXXV.
That's a Roman numeral, Molly.
What number? That's too high for me to know. I don't know. What's L?
I think it's 100. I was about to Google it, actually. I think it's 125. Nope, that's 75.
75? That's what that number is?
Okay, so L is 50.
50, 67. Okay. Lone Star 75. Got it.
C is 100. No, wait, that's not right. Is it? Who cares?
Alex equals tech loading Star Wars info into my head, and I equal Omega. Molly spits out random Star Wars plant with ease. Maybe they meant planet or plant.
Could be plant.
So you're just loading Star Wars trivia slowly over time into my head. That sounds right to me.
I tell you I'm impressed all the time when you say something weird, like from Star Wars. Not when you just say anything generically weird.
I was gonna say you need to say that you're impressed with me more often, because I say a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah. When you say generically weird stuff, I say you stop it.
What did I say on a Q&A recently that you were like, nerd alert?
I don't remember. I do remember you saying that. So I remember you sparking that in me. I feel like it was from a video game, but
it was something it was like a very deep cut Star Wars thing. I don't know. But
I was impressed. When I said nerd alert, I should have said I'm impressed.
Maybe someone in the chat will know, because I know I like edited some stuff in there to point it out. Like maybe some nerd glasses on me. I can't remember.
Zephyr has the next super chat. Thank you. Do you think we will see the rest of the batch, especially Hunter, agreeing with Echo about helping others by the end of the season? Yes.
I think that's likely.
Although I said that kind of all season 1 as well. But I think that's part of Hunter's journey, is learning to balance protecting Omega and his family with also fighting the Empire and fighting the good fight.
Yeah, because just the fact that Echo is being heard and understood a little bit better by the rest of the group, he's not going to stop caring about the other clones. He's going to continue to care more and more about that and fight for doing something about it.
And it's interesting, and I'm almost positive they brought this up in season 1 and I kind of forgot about it, but there has to be some resentment from Hunter and the other members of the batch that, the other clones never treated them great. So they didn't care about us. Why should we care about them? But them learning to get over that, I think specifically Hunter learning to get over that and be like, no, we're all clones despite our differences, and we should stand together. I think that's probably his journey.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes, because we know we're going to continue to see more of familiar clones like Cody and Rex. So who knows what's going to happen?
Hopefully Hauser again.
Hauser.
I miss him.
I've forgotten what he looks like. I mean, not super
How
forgotten,
can you?
but like I've forgotten what made us fall in love with him, or not us and like the rest of the fandom, because it's been so long since we've seen him.
It was his hair.
Yep. Ice with another super chat. Thank you, Ice. That moment Tech had with Romar is honestly the most emotional we've been the whole time. The most emotional he's been the whole time we've known him, and I'm hopeful we'll get development from him. Yeah, I agree. I think that was a really important, valuable moment and lesson for Tech and for the audience, just to see that connection and that conversation being had, and how easily you can just say, you know what, you're right. I will keep that in mind going forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's that
I
easy.
love that Tech moment. Just presented with new information and learned from it. Didn't fight it. Just saw a person for who he was. Good for you, Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick before we move on to the next one, just because Molly forgot, I wanted to look at him. Look at that hair. He's got a scar. He's been through some serious stuff, but he's
I don't
pressing
remember
on.
that scar on his face, but yeah, he's got the cool guy hair.
Cool guy hair. So handsome. Looks like Sweet Feet Pete has the next super chat. Thank you, Sweet Feet Pete. Lego stream tomorrow? Yes.
Hell yeah.
I will. If you don't know what we're building, I should be able to. Yeah, I can bring up the thumbnail for it, made by our good friend Brian Ward. We will be building the Ultimate Collector Series Razor Crest. Made that a Christmas gift for myself. So that's what we're going to be building. It was a little before Christmas, not that much before Christmas. It could be close enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to get into that.
I am too.
Like I said, that's gonna be one of the ones that takes us a while. Also, when you said UCS in all the appropriate words, I was like, what is he talking about? That sounds very pretentious.
The Ultimate Collector Series. That's what it's called.
I know, but I just always say UCS. So hearing it said completely, I was like, do we want to call it that? That sounds...
I got even more excited because Solid Brick Studios, our friend Lego YouTuber, he did his top sets of the year. And I think he put the Razor Crest at his number 3, but it was his top Star Wars set, which he had a handful of Star Wars sets in his top 10.
Bring up the picture again. Because I have been complaining a lot that all the UCS sets are all gray.
Mm-hmm.
This one's pretty gray.
Yep.
But it is, I don't know. I think I'll like this one better because it's not like a big gray pancake or a big gray triangle. Yeah. It's got a little more intrigue to it.
Well, you can open it up and it's kind of like the Falcon is, where it can be a play set as well.
Yeah.
Not that anyone is ever going to play with my Millennium Falcon. Don't touch it. It will fall apart.
It's very fragile.
But Darth Nicholas has the next super chat. Thank you, Nicholas. I'm glad Tales of the Jedi released before Bad Batch Season 2 rather than vice versa, as was originally planned, because it made Count Dooku becoming the very thing he sought to eradicate hit even harder than would otherwise have been the case. Totally agree.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, we touched on this a little bit earlier, but man, you just I mean, obviously hearing Dooku's name and seeing Sereno is going to get people excited, but after knowing a little bit more about Dooku and his history before he turned to the dark side, it's just so much more sad.
Yeah. I agree. When they delayed the Bad Batch, I was disappointed, but now I am wondering if it was on purpose.
Mm,
Just that it does follow both of those series very well,
could be.
or it could just be a scheduling thing.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't really say anything in Bad Batch that directly connected to the Tales of the Jedi stories. It was just the fact that they brought up Dooku, and the way they brought it up, it was very much just connecting back to the Clone Wars.
Yeah, thematic connections. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thanura Ravindra, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but thank you for the super chat. I want to see Republic Commandos Delta Squad as the overarching villains versus the Bad Batch. They were known for tracking clone deserters after all.
Mm.
Interesting.
That was a Legends thing, but I mean, if they're bringing Scorch back, they might as well bring the others back, and why not? Why not keep that consistent?
It'd be
I-
interesting to see how the Empire would use them differently, because I mean, they would probably be different under Palpatine.
Yeah, I mean they're under the effects of the chip as much as anyone else, but we've just barely seen Republic Commandos in action in canon. So they've already kind of built them up to be like, oh, they're a serious threat, and we saw them in the trailers, so we know at least Commandos are coming back. I can't remember if Scorch was in the trailer or not, but we can expect to see Commandos again.
Yeah. I don't know much about them. I remember seeing everyone get excited about them from last
Their
season.
armor's cool, and they got like a little knife that comes out of their wrist.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunter has that, kind of.
Well, he has a knife that he pulls out. Like it comes out. It's like a little jabber,
Oh.
kind of like the Assassin's Creed thing, but it's on that side.
Mm,
You know.
very fancy. The little jabby thing.
Little jabbers. Darth Nicholas, thank you for another super chat. Do you think Sev will make an appearance later on in the season when the batch reaches Kashyyyk? Another member of Delta Squad. If so, do you think Sev will ally with the batch or commit to the cause of the Empire? Okay, so Molly, Sev is one of the Republic Commandos in Delta Squad in the game, and he goes missing on Kashyyyk in like the final mission, which happens right before Order 66. So could he potentially still be out there? Did he actually die? We don't know. I think the books left his fate ambiguous. I don't really think Sev is going to be in the Kashyyyk stuff, because that all feels very inside baseball, like very all that explaining I just had to do to explain why this Republic Commando was on Kashyyyk. That feels like a lot. While you also have you also have Gunji thrown into the mix. I think that seems like a stretch.
Yeah. What are they on Kashyyyk?
In the trailer, you can see. I would say it's probably Kashyyyk.
No, I mean Sev.
Oh, Sev, yeah, in the game, yeah.
Okay. I feel like if we go to Kashyyyk, there probably won't be any familiar clones there, but there could be.
I mean, I would have said that there's no way Scorch was going to be in season 1. So
That's true.
So who knows?
Another super chat from Darth Nicholas. Where is Hauser? Is he safe? Is he all right? We
Well,
talked a little bit about him, but I think
I think he's been arrested. I hope he's fine otherwise.
Oh, they're probably doing experiments on him at
Don't
Mount
say that.
Tantus.
Don't say that.
No, but he's gonna be fine because he'll find Grogu there and they'll get into hijinks together. Can you imagine?
I cannot. I think that they arrested him, and I hope the batch breaks him out at some point. I'll just say I hope that he pops up again.
Same. If just to see him for one more time.
I just want to look on him with my own eyes.
With my own eyes.
My special eyes. Ice, thank you for the next super chat. One of my favorite things was the subplot with Echo and Omega. Everyone says Hunter is like Omega's father figure, but honestly, it's Echo. He behaves more like a dad towards her than the others. I still see Hunter. Personally, I see Hunter as the primary father figure.
I think he acts the most like the father figure. There's like, well, he goes into it a little more. Ice does in the next super chat too.
Okay.
Wrecker is the fun big brother. Tech is the bookworm relative that teaches you. Hunter is more like that stuck-up brother who won't let you do anything. At least he was in season 1, which was very frustrating. Yeah, he's kind of overprotective. He feels like he's the most responsible for her.
I definitely think that he doesn't want her to get hurt, but I think that we've moved beyond that frustrating aspect, which I was very relieved of in these episodes, that he was like, come on, Omega, or like, are you coming? Like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
That he didn't tell her to stay on the ship. He kind of laughed when she said she was having fun hanging off of the Havoc Marauder and all the crabs were attacking. I definitely think that he wants to protect her, but I don't know. I still see him as the most fatherly.
Yeah, I do too. Fatherly, or like he was saying, very close big brother that is kind of overprotective.
I mean, like you're talking about, as they're all teaching Omega different things. I think that they are all father figures to her. I do kind of see Wrecker as the fun, chaotic big brother, but he's part of the dad batch too.
Yeah, they're all the dad batch.
They're all different aspects of fatherhood, probably kind of split apart.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ken Plume, and thank you for the next super chat. Happy New Year, used to. When am I back on? I don't know. We can talk about that.
Yeah, we gotta schedule some stuff out.
Yeah.
Like we said, we're still relearning how to do this whole live streaming thing. We took some time off, and now we're like, what? How do we do this?
But we can talk about that, Ken. I like that you're a member of your own club, as your profile picture suggests.
Proud founding member, I assume.
Yeah.
WC1376C. I'm getting better at that.
Mm-hmm.
Lone Star 75. Yes, I got it. Thank you for the next super chat. Okay, my quote-unquote nerd has finished his homework. Time to go watch those 2 episodes again. Later explained ×2. Thank you. Yeah,
well, thank you for hanging out. Yeah, thank you for hanging out. Have fun watching him again. Say hello to your nerd.
I love seeing parents just call their kids a nerd.
It's not the same term that it was back in the 80s.
You're right. It's not.
Ryan K, thank you for our last super chat here. Which member of Fox's Sunday night animation domination lineup would fit in well with the Bad Batch? I think Louise Belcher and Omega would be fun. Bender and Wrecker would get into some shenanigans. I mean, really, any of the Belcher children, I think, would be a blast.
I mean, I've got to stick with them because I don't think I know any of the other shows that are part of that.
It's the Family Guy, American Dad, Simpsons, Futurama, and Bob's
Yeah.
Burgers. I'm sure there's more, but yeah, the only show of those that we really watch is Bob's Burgers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I mean, what I just said should be a clue to what I thought, but just
Oh my God.
having Bob be be with the Bad Batch, and just anytime Wrecker or Omega did anything, and him just going, "Oh my God, oh my God,
Bob
oh my
and
God."
Hunter are the same. Oh my God. Except
Can we just get bring the whole Belcher clan into the Bad Batch and have them all interact for an episode, even a fan film? Someone just put that together, mash that up. It's too good.
Wrecker and Teddy would get along so well.
Oh my God. Yes.
And I mean, Omega would get along with all of them, but I think I don't know who she would get along with the most, but you have so many group options there.
Can you imagine Louise, or not Louise, Tina meeting Hauser? Just instant crush.
Yeah. Yeah, we're obviously favoring Bob's Burgers because we actively keep up with that show, but I'm seeing a lot of other good ones in the chat. Peter Griffin with Wrecker. See Peter fight Wrecker like he fights Ernie the giant chicken. See, I don't get that, but I'm sure that would be amazing to see.
You've seen the Family Guy Star Wars things, right? The giant chicken is Boba Fett in those.
Oh, okay. It's been a really long time since I've seen those, but yeah.
I really want a Bob's Burgers crossover with Bad Batch, though.
Same.
Bob
and that
Batch.
feels like the Bob Batch, the Burger Batch.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like a great way to end the stream. We're sitting at right over 2 hours. First stream back. Done. I think it was a success.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Honestly, I was wondering if it would go that long. Just animation doesn't get the same attention as live action, but thank you all for being here, sending your questions. Let me check. I think Keith and Kerwin, they might be done with their stream. Shoot. I was going to send you their way, but
we have one more.
Oh my God. Okay. Jeez. Jonathan Moda, thank you so much. First time commenter, long time lurker. Just want to say thank you and keep up the great work. Always look forward to the Star Wars Day update to the timeline. I haven't even started thinking about that yet. And
thank
I'm going to
have so much.
Oh yeah. First, thank you so much for the insanely generous super chat. And yeah, I'm going to have to start thinking about that soon because March is going to be busy. April has Celebration.
Will be in London.
Yeah, and The Mandalorian will still be going. So I need to start thinking about that. But yeah, thank you very, very much, Jonathan.
Very generous of you. Thank you so much.
Well, we're going to wrap up and go get some dinner. Before I do that, I'm going to post the Bombad cast. I wish we could raid like you can on Twitch. We can't. Yeah. But our friends, the Bombad cast, have just started their live stream for the Bad Batch. So I'll just post the link in the chat if anyone wants to go visit them.
Definitely go check them out. And Ice and if anyone else has topics that they're just burning to talk about, we are going to continue to take questions and stuff in tomorrow's Lego stream. So going forward with Mando and Bad Batch coming on at the same time, yeah. we're going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting in both days for live streams. So we will take your super chat on tomorrow's live stream first thing. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was a great stream. Great guests. Had so much
Yeah,
fun.
Keith and Kerwin were great. I do want to go eat dinner because I'm starving. But
Yeah.
we can real quick. We'll take Ice's last super chat here. Thank you, Ice. I love the way they handled Echo's opinion. Although Omega misunderstands, it's clear to us that he does not regret saving her from Kamino at all. He doesn't resent her at all, and it's good that he gets to say as much to her. Yes,
That's true.
I like that they had that moment,
Mhm.
and I thought that was a great moment. But,
oh yeah, the Echo Omega relationship is fantastic so far.
Yeah. But with that, we're gonna go get some lunch. We will be back tomorrow streaming. Whatever.
Dinner?
I'm starving. some food at some point of the day, and we're gonna be back tomorrow to stream our Lego build, and we'll take more questions then as well. But thank you all for watching. Go check out the Bombad cast. Say hello to them. Tell them we sent you if you're going over there, and may the force be with you.